Prominently displayed is this bicycle in the Historical Museum of Bosnia and Herzegovina in its permanent collection of the Siege of Sarajevo. Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to another edition of Borders on Budgets. On this episode, we will tour the museum, as well as taking a tour with a local photographer who will show us some of the city's hotspots during the war. Because of a scarcity of supplies, it was the bicycle that was the most reliable source of transportation in Sarajevo during its siege and the Bosnian War. The 3.5-year siege of Sarajevo, and by extension the Bosnian War, started after a referendum in March of 1992 when the citizens of Bosnia and Herzegovina voted for independence. However, local Bosnian Serbs and Bosnian Croats did not agree with this decision. Again, because of a scarcity of supplies, citizens of Sarajevo had to resort to ingenuity in order to create devices that would provide heating and light. During a 2-month period early in the siege, this satellite dish was the only communication to the outside world by the office of the Bosnian presidency. As would be expected during wartime conditions, housing was scarce and cramped. During the first year of the siege of Sarajevo, one of the odder moments, although certainly necessary for a sense of normalcy, was the city's Miss Sarajevo beauty pageant. 16 ladies vied for the title of Miss Sarajevo 1993. In addition to the beauty pageant, it did have the political statement, "This infamous banner, 'Don't let them kill us,' was unfurled." For 25 years, the infamous "Don't let them kill us" banner had been stored in a private basement, and only recently has it been donated to the Historical Museum. The museum boasts a collection of photographs from Sarajevo. The pictures were taken in 1996 and in 2011. What the artist wanted to show was the scenes of Sarajevo immediately post-war and 15 years later during Reconstruction. The 1996 pictures were taken with film, while the 2011 photos were taken with digital. The photographer who took these pictures will now take us on a tour of Sarajevo's hotspots during the war. Sarajevo resident Jim Marshall has been in the city since 1994. Originally from Scotland, he came to Bosnia as an aid worker. What made this point or bridge pertinent or interesting to photo so many years ago?
In 1996, when Grbavica was handed over again, it was an area that I would come to a lot, an area of sort of great interest to me. The 9 months between Grbavica being handed over and the end of the year, in 1996, after the war, they removed 11,000 explosive devices from Grbavica, many in the form of booby traps. Beneath is the river. Behind me was government-held territory, and behind the camera was Serb-held territory. So the river was basically the front line.
The fighting was so frequent and intense across this river that anybody attempting to cross this bridge, Jim mentioned their chances of survival would have been 0.
When I came to Mostar from Scotland in the first place, I was only supposed to come for a number of weeks. And clearly, that being 24 years ago, it didn't really go according to plan. Two young students, both female, from Sarajevo, on the peace demonstration were both shot dead by a sniper on this bridge, marking the first victims of what was to become the Siege of Sarajevo. This bridge became very sort of, it had an awful lot of relevance to the siege. This bridge was also the end of Serb-held territory in the area of Grbavica and the beginning of Bosnian government-held territory. In this part of Sarajevo, the siege was virtually within the centre of the city. So 300 metres from the Bosnian presidency building in American terms would be 300 metres from, you know, the Capitol building. It was that dramatic.
A quarter century after the war, it is not unusual to see buildings in Sarajevo remain pockmarked following artillery fire.
I think having come here during the siege and lived here during the siege, being informed could save your life, so it was very important to be informed. Being ignorant was not, that was a luxury you could not afford during the siege in Sarajevo. These are the foothills of Trebević Mountain. Across to the left you have this cliff, and then the hill, and then down into the residential area of Grbavica. And this was basically the siege line, so the Serbs were basically above the bluff there, and up there the problem wasn't so much snipers, that's where all the heavy artillery was. The yellow tape there is mine tape left over from the end of the war.
Should we be concerned that there are...
No, this is all cleared.
This building has character both intact and destroyed. What is its story?
Oh, it's basically destroyed. It's basically a building that sat in no man's land. It was a building that was very exposed to heavy ammunition, tank fire, and so it's a building that didn't survive the siege.
Although I can't read Bosnian, that there's an exclamation point after the letters or the word opasnost.
It means danger. Danger. It basically marks the fact that it's a crumbling building in a dangerous state.
There's the split on the left, heavily damaged, unusable. On the right, not as much damage, somewhat usable.
Within very close proximity to the front lines, we can see that even in 2018 there's still the remnants of severe destruction of this part of the town.
Well, in credit to the advertisers and the marketers, the billboards do a really good job of hiding the destruction.
The Serbs across the bridge behind me with tanks tried to come across the bridge. We're about 100 metres from the Bosnian presidency building. It was an enormous battle, but they were pushed back. These were two very key moments in the first months of the war that meant that Sarajevo did not fall.
While there still remains numerous buildings in Sarajevo that are unrepaired 25 years after the war, as evidenced behind me, Sarajevo has gone through an economic revitalization, and with it, some of the joie de vivre that was seen before the war. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Borders on Budgets. A reminder, Borders on Budgets, long distance hikes, slices of life, not a lot of money. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. If I knew anything about architecture or masonry, I could appreciate this building even more.